Hey Nerd Society, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the action-packed world of Invincible to rank the top 10 villains from this groundbreaking comic and animated series. These baddies have tested Mark Grayson like no other, pushing him to his limits and giving us some of the most intense moments in superhero history. If you're as hyped about Invincible as we are, make sure to smash that like button, leave a comment letting us know your favorite villain, and don't forget to subscribe to Nerd Society for more epic superhero content. Let's get into it. Powerplex. One of the most significant villains in terms of Invincible's overarching message is Powerplex. Originally known as Scott Duvall, he's less of a traditional villain and more of a tragic victim. After his sister died during the battle between Invincible and Omni-Man, Duvall developed a deep-seated resentment toward the hero, which only grew over time. Duvall became increasingly obsessed with his vendetta, stealing experimental technology to gain the ability to absorb and redirect energy. He staged crimes in the hopes of luring Invincible into a confrontation. Tragically, his schemes eventually involved his wife and son, and during a clash with Invincible, Powerplex accidentally caused their deaths. Blaming Invincible for the tragedy, Duvall spiraled into madness, becoming a progressively more psychotic villain. Squids. The Squids are a hive-minded collective of parasitic creatures that, when attached to a host, can take full control of their mind and add them to their growing army. They were first discovered on Mars, where the shape-shifting Martians managed to keep them contained, until one escaped by bonding with astronaut Russ Livingston during a botched space mission. The Squids have repeatedly threatened Earth, even infiltrating both the Global Guardians and the U.S. government in their quest for total domination. Through Russ Livingston, they easily recaptured Mars before being defeated by Invincible. However, their return to Earth pushed Mark to take one of the most drastic measures of his career to save the planet, a pivotal moment in his character's journey. Omni-Man. Though his role evolves over time, Mark Grayson, aka Omni-Man, is Invincible's first major villain. As a Viltrumite, a member of a race of alien conquerors, his mission was to subjugate Earth and convince his son, Mark, to join him. When Mark refused, Omni-Man nearly killed him in battle, only to stop unexpectedly, driven by his love for his son. Later, Mark reunites with his father, who has started a new life on the planet Thragg. While Omni-Man becomes an ally and one of the series' key characters, his past actions remain unforgivable. His betrayal of the Global Guardians and the staggering innocent casualties during his fight with Mark continue to cast a long shadow over his redemption. Angstrom Levy. Gifted with the power to open portals to alternate dimensions, Angstrom Levy gathered hundreds of his own duplicates from across the multiverse and attempted to merge all their knowledge into his mind. Unfortunately for him, Invincible interrupted the experiment at the last moment, leaving Angstrom disfigured and enraged. From that point on, Angstrom became obsessed with exacting revenge on Mark, proving to be one of the hero's most formidable adversaries. What made him truly terrifying wasn't just his considerable powers, but his ruthless targeting of Mark's loved ones. Angstrom had no limits, whether it was stranding Invincible in a desolate wasteland for weeks or assembling an army of evil Invincibles to attack Earth. With Angstrom, much like the multiverse itself, the possibilities for chaos are endless. Anissa. The conflict between Mark and Anissa, one of the surviving Viltrumites, begins with her attempt to pressure Mark into conquering Earth, but soon escalates into something far darker. Anissa, a pure-blooded Viltrumite, struggles to adapt to Thragg's plan of using humans to rebuild the Viltrumite Empire. She harbors disdain for humans and refuses to procreate with an Earthling man. Instead, she fixates on Mark Grayson, even though he is married to Eve at this point and has no interest in her. Tragically, Anissa disregards Mark's rejection, forcing herself on him in an intensely disturbing and controversial scene. This moment highlights the callous nature of the Viltrumites and adds another layer of trauma to Mark's already overwhelming struggles. How Amazon will approach adapting this storyline remains a significant point of curiosity. Dinosaurus. At the crossroads of intellect and raw power stands Dinosaurus, a concept so bizarre it's hard to believe how seamlessly it fits into Invincible's story. Essentially, Dinosaurus is a nod to the Hulk, with his human alter ego, David Anders, transforming not out of rage but from apathy and boredom. While David is unmotivated and morally indifferent, his superpowered dinosaur counterpart is principled to the point of extremism. Dinosaurus concocts elaborate schemes aimed at saving the world, but his methods often endanger countless lives, taking his ideals far beyond acceptable limits. Ultimately, Dinosaurus plays a pivotal role in Invincible's narrative by challenging Mark to re-evaluate his approach to being a hero. He forces Mark to consider the bigger picture, even if it means confronting uncomfortable truths about his own actions. Conquest. As a battle-hardened Viltrumite warrior, Conquest earned a fearsome reputation as one of the Empire's greatest champions, known for never failing to deliver a planet. When previous attempts to discipline Invincible failed, the Viltrumites sent Conquest to eliminate Mark and destroy his planet. The result was one of the most brutal and blood-soaked battles in the entire series. Conquest nearly killed both Invincible and Adam Eve, overwhelming the heroes in combat. He was only narrowly defeated when Eve unexpectedly powered up at the last moment, burning part of his body. Despite this, Conquest kept fighting and barely survived the encounter. In his rematch with Mark, the two once again pushed each other to their absolute limits. The fight was so savage and graphic that it's impossible to show in censored images on YouTube or even describe in detail what they did to each other. Conquest remains one of the most memorable and merciless villains in Invincible. Battle Beast, originally the guardian of his home planet, Battle Beast developed an insatiable lust for violence through constant battles, eventually setting out to find a worthy opponent strong enough to kill him. First appearing in Invincible number 19, Battle Beast easily defeated Invincible and the Global Guardians, only sparing them because he considered them too weak to be worth his time. Though his thirst for combat positions him as a villain, Battle Beast later allies himself with the Coalition of Planets, but only to satisfy his death-driven crusade during their war with the Viltrumites. Throughout the war, Battle Beast faced off against the Viltrumite ruler Thrag, and the two engaged in a brutal, week-long battle spanning 5 issues, one of the longest and most savage fights in the entire series. Thrag. While Angstrom Levy may have been a chaotic force for Mark, the true primary villain of Invincible is the Grand Regent Thrag. Claiming the Viltrumite throne after the death of their previous ruler, Thrag ruled for thousands of years, overseeing the Viltrumite expansion across the universe and their conquest of countless civilizations. In a species obsessed with the mantra, whoever holds power decides what's right, it's no surprise that Thrag was the most powerful among them, proving his superiority time and time again. Not even Omni-Man was a match for Thrag, and the Grand Regent was so formidable that initially, Invincible's attacks barely phased him. Thrag's accomplishments included defeating Battle Beast after a multi-day battle, ensuring the survival of his species during its darkest hour, and raising an entire army of his own children, nearly restoring the Viltrumites' dominance over the galaxy. Robot, also known as Rudolph Connors, is one of the smartest individuals in the Invincible universe. He led both the team and the new formation of the Global Guardians, saving the world countless times. However, things begin to change when, during one of his missions, Robot and his girlfriend, Monster Girl, become trapped in the Flaxen dimension while trying to stop the Flaxens from conquering Earth. Robot eventually becomes the new emperor of the Flaxen dimension, ruling with an iron fist for 1,000 years before returning to Earth just months after his disappearance. Once back, Robot's lust for power leads him to seek domination over Earth, just as he did in the Flaxen dimension. He attempts to take over the world by trapping Invincible in an alternate dimension and eliminating anyone who could threaten his rise to power. After killing numerous heroes and villains, his plan succeeds when he strikes a deal with the Viltrumites, preventing Invincible from killing him and securing his position as the head of the Global Defense Agency. And that's a wrap on our list of the top 10 villains in Invincible. These characters brought some of the most intense, heart-wrenching, and mind-bending moments to the series, challenging Invincible in ways we never saw coming. What do you think? Did we miss any major villains? Let us know in the comments below. Your feedback means a lot. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Nerd Society for more deep dives into the world of superheroes. We're always bringing you the best content from rankings to breakdowns, so you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay nerdy.